And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Jim Nelson, who asked the question, who win a fight? Godzilla, the king of the monsters, versus Kurama, / the nine-tailed fox, Naruto, the strongest of the tail beasts, outside of the blended mess they were as the Ten Tails. So, right off the bat, I can see this it's kaiju to some degree. So, we gotta get a few things kind of out of the way, right? Well, not out of the way. Kind of break or nail down some things, if you will, about the nine-tailed fox, because really, there's no clear-cut version of Godzilla, so there's multiple versions of Godzilla. I mean, there you have Zilla, you have basically the standard like Heisei, Showa era Godzillas. I mean, they are technically different Godzillas, but we can lump them all together kind of in the same boat. Then you have the legendary Godzilla, and then you have Godzilla Earth. So there's quite a few different versions of Godzilla. But there's only one Kurama. So let's look at Kurama first. Kurama is the nine-tailed fox. He's the demon fox. He's the strongest of the tail beasts, again, outside of the ten tails itself. And for the longest time, he was, kind of on the evil side-ish, more or less, in the series. And then we find out he was manipulated by Madara, turned over a new leaf, befriended Naruto, all that. As the strongest of the tail beasts, he has the most chakra in reserve. He is arguably the They never actually say, because I've read one or two fan fictions that kind of illustrate the idea that Kurama is the overall strongest, but there are probably tail beasts to supersede him in other ways. Like the Three Tails defense might actually be better than his defense, or Sun and what is it, Yuki? The Eight Tails might actually be physically stronger than him, but overall he is the strongest in terms of like chakra, agility, all that. But if we're going by the basis he's overall the strongest, the nine-tailed fox is... Here's the thing. The tail beasts themselves actually aren't, as far as I can tell, and I'm sure I'm going to get someone arguing that, oh, they said this in a book or something like that. It's like, okay, fine. I didn't find that part out. But everything I've seen from the tail beasts and everything along those lines, none of them, especially if you go down scale, are really planetary level threats. Like, they're country level threats. They're continental level threats. But they're not like, Naruto apparently is, in fact, the planet buster. But that's combining Nine Tails chakra has with his own chakra, Sage chakra, all that combined to make what Naruto is. Kurama, I think Kurama is at least subplanetary. Like, he could probably blow up the moon. But I don't think Kurama could, even with all his power, unless he's like point blank just gonna kill himself in the process, can blow up the Earth. I could be wrong on that. I'm willing to be wrong on that one. I've just never seen anything in the series that illustrated the idea that he is strong enough to destroy the Earth. The moon, yes. So I'll go subplanetary in terms of overall power level, but in terms of his strength speed, he's considered a devastating force of nature. But he's also highly intelligent too. It's just that when he's being manipulated, he's a little, more like a mindless beast. His trademark attack is obviously the tail beast ball. He does have wind and fire chakra in the anime, but there's no actual illustrated point, something that illustrates he actually has those legitimately. So he can wave his tails around, do whatever he wants with them. Other than that, though, he can create shock waves just by swinging his arms and his tails and roaring. So he's a force to be reckoned with. But here's the thing about Kurama that I wanted to get to. It's that Kurama, when going up against Godzilla in any form, when you're a kaiju-esque monster, size is a factor. And I tried looking up, there is no actual recorded canon size for Kurama. There isn't. And I looked it up and I saw that it was that he it's like what's with this what am I trying to say here? I saw I read over a fandom real quick and there it was a fan. I was like, oh no, it's like this many centimeters, this many feet high. I was like, wait, what? This is dumb. So there's no real clear cut, not feet to inches. I need inches to feet. There we go. there's no clear-cut defined size for how big Kurama actually is. However, we do have a clear-cut size for someone that we know has been comparable to Kurama in terms of size. Should know, Kurama his full power is actually, or Kurama as we see him throughout the series up until near the end, is actually only half as big as he normally is because half of his chakra was sealed away inside Minato, where the other half was sealed in Naruto. So you combine them together, he's actually twice as big as normal. Now, just as when, I'm trying to remember, when he attacked the village, that was his full size. We do have someone to compare him to, and that is Lord Gamabunta, the Chief Toad, because he was summoned if you remember, he was summoned in the flashback to try to keep the Kyuubi at bay. Now, one second, I want to get Gamabunta's official recorded height is 1,700 centimeters, which translates, roughly speaking, to 669 inches, which is then right around 55 feet, which is big. That's a big toad. But at the same time, you look at like him in Naruto, and you're like, that can't be it, can it? Because he seems like he's almost 100 feet tall. But when you really compare him, let's see, Gamabunta versus the Kyuubi. I want to get the size comparison up here. This is Kurama. There we are. Because I need some imagery here. So it will help me. Let's see here. When he was summoned again, there we go. See, when he was summoned against the Nine Tails, he was big enough to basically topple on top of the Nine Tails. Keep him down for a little bit. However, when you actually look at the image, and obviously I don't have the image up right now, honestly, Kurama's giving him a piggyback, is what it is. And he's got hands to keep him down to a certain degree. But Kurama easily, honestly, he dwarfs Gamabunta. He's at least 3 times the size of Gamabunta at minimum, not even including his tails. So if we go by that measurement, Kurama probably stands roughly at 150 feet tall at full power, which is the Kurama we're using, obviously. So he's really big. He is. So when we talk about Godzilla, we're basically going to look over, and when I say, there's so many the Showa era, the Heisei era. We'll look mostly at the Heisei, the Legendary series, and Godzilla Earth. Those are the big 3 Godzillas we'll look at. And for the sake of sakes, we'll look at Zilla too. So Godzilla, one second, because in getting the actual sizes, there we go, size chart. Getting the actual size, because knowing what they do is easy off the top of my head. Knowing their actual size off the top of my head, that's a bit trickier. So because someone made a great size chart a while back. And let's see, I want to get that full image in front of me so I can just easily reference it. Okay, come on, give me the, okay, that I'm not going to be able to get through here. Let's see now. Come on, give me a good size chart here. There we go. That's nice. That's real nice. All right. So I forgot Shin Godzilla too. Crap, because I never actually saw Shin Godzilla. I know Shin Godzilla, but never actually watched it. Crap, and I gotta translate the meters. I hate metric. I really do. Metric can kiss my ass. I'm an American, damn it. I prefer the non-metric meters to feet. There we go. Anyway, so I'm trying to remember which one of these guys is which. Because they're not labeled. They're labeled. Oh, okay, they're labeled from the year they came out. So we're looking at, say, 1991. That's probably the Godzilla we're going to want to be looking at in terms of the overall. 100 meters, which translates, roughly speaking, to... So that Godzilla is around 3... So the Heisei 80s, 90s Godzilla is right around 390-something feet tall. He's a big... Not to me. 328 feet tall, I apologize. So he's big. He's very big. The legendary Godzilla isn't much bigger than that, 350 feet tall. And I think he got a little bigger also in King of the Monsters. So I think he's standing right around, trying to remember exactly where he's standing around. He's standing around, like 390. He's not a full 400. I remember that, but around 390. And And then Shin Godzilla is actually a whopping 118 meters, which puts him closing in on the 300 or 400 foot range. Basically speaking, and the only one who's actually on the relatively small side of the chart is Zilla himself, who roughly speaking stands at 60 meters tall, which is still 196 feet tall. So every version of Godzilla, and then we got Godzilla Earth, who, God almighty, Godzilla Earth, do they actually give a size? Oh, holy hell. Godzilla Earth, who stands at 300 meters tall, nearly 1,000 feet tall. So every version of Godzilla in a size-to-size face-off is, in fact, larger than Kurama. And again, we're roughly speculating on how big Kurama really is. Godzilla obviously is a atomic being to a degree. He's a radioactive monster. In the Legendary series, this Titan species has existed long since before the dawn of man, when the Earth was much more radioactive, and people and Titans even lived together. Otherwise, he's usually a product of natural. They say he's either a mutated dinosaur or he's a product of radiation and just a monster. However he comes to be, he emits radiation. He's physically, every version of him is very physically powerful. Every version has an atomic breath, which is pure radiation. He's durable as hell. The Heisei, was that the Heisei? Basically, the Final Wars Godzilla was strong enough to tank a meteorite to the face. Godzilla Earth, Godzilla Earth. How do I explain Godzilla Earth? Let's briefly touch on each one of these guys. The 90s one was extremely powerful, could release atomic pulses, had a magnetic property to him because he was able to absorb lightning, had the red spiral death ray. When he went into burning mode, which we can address burning Godzilla, I suppose. He basically was just melting up, but was becoming stronger and stronger, and just just supreme nuclear reactor meltdown. Zilla, probably the most agile of all the Godzilla versions. And I know people don't like the fact that I'm probably including Zilla, but he is technically a version of Godzilla. He's definitely the most agile of them. Can move around the quickest. He's probably the least durable, though, because he didn't tank missiles like the rest of them did. His atomic breath also was not that impressive. Zilla Jr.'s atomic breath was much more impressive, and he was much more powerful and durable. And your puppy. I'm rubbing your puppy's belly. I'm not going to move it, but she's adorable. Anyway, so it's less that he was a product of radiation, because as far as I know, he never emitted radiation. And more that he's just kind of a big monster. Then we get into the Legendary series Godzilla, and we'll specifically go with King of the Monsters. That Godzilla is strong enough to actually survive their version of the... spoilers for King of the Monsters. Not that a lot of you went to support it. God, it was amazing. It's true, it did not actually do that well financially, which really blows. But he was actually strong enough, and granted, it nearly killed him, but he did survive that universe's version of the Oxygen Destroyer, which is really impressive. He can pretty much tank missiles because his entire body is coated with, basically, they're hardened scale burns is what they are. It's like scar tissue almost. So he can tank a huge amount of damage, but he's very big and lumbering, but also physically powerful. And obviously he has an atomic breath as well. He also has a burning form, which allowed him to basically, again, King of the Monster spoilers, just incinerate Ghidorah without too much problems whatsoever. He needed the help of Mothra to do that, though. Then you have Shin Godzilla. Now, Shin Godzilla is interesting. Again, pretty lumbering, honestly, probably not that physically strong in terms of like grappling or anything, because he's got these little T-Rex arms. But in terms of what he was capable of, the destructive power of Shin is, I think, second only to Godzilla Earth. Like, Shin could raise an entire skyscraper-lined city in a matter of seconds. His atomic breath was more like a freaking... He could breathe fire, but he could also just shoot a concentrated laser atomic energy. Not just from his mouth, not just from his tail, but from his back. They had to basically use some weird, they had to turn him to stone, essentially. Can't remember exactly what the deal was with that. But he also had pretty high regeneration capabilities, and he was just imposing. And he's also probably the most messed up looking Godzilla among them. Godzilla Earth. Okay, now I know a lot of people had issue with the anime of the anime Godzilla, and I could be lying if I didn't see why. I didn't actually watch it, but I did. I've seen bits of it, like he fought Ghidorah, the Mecha Godzilla. The way they explain, the way they explained Mecha Godzilla was just freaking dumb. Don't tease Mecha Godzilla unless you're going to have Mecha Godzilla. I digress. So again, he stands, roughly speaking, at about 1,000 meters tall, and about, or excuse me, 100 meters. Sorry, no, he's about 100 meters. Oh no, height. Sorry, about 300 meters tall. Oh, 318 meters tall. He's above 1,000 feet, and a length of about 1,804 feet. Now, in terms of what this Godzilla was overall capable of, this Godzilla, one second. Where is Godzilla's actual abilities here? There we go. So this card is extremely devastating abilities. It was able to cause more than several hundred million casualties in 12 to 13 years since his appearance. Now it said that Godzilla is almost detectable due to his body lacking emissions, electronic waves. Electronic magnetic pulses generated by usage of atomic breath allow humanity to detect his presence. He swims faster, quicker, and deeper than a submarine. Like plants, he requires water and light as an energy source. Godzilla presents itself as being severe. Godzilla's presence itself brings severe radioactive pollutants anywhere it passes, resulting in the abandonment of affected lands by mankind. Most Godzilla bearing, most monsters barring Godzilla have been regarded as mutations of normal organisms, thus they've been able to be killed by conventional weaponry. Thus, Godzilla's existence itself was shot out of the dark, as it possessed nothing more than science fiction-like biology, such as including a beam to shoot an energy beam from his mouth, high stealthiness, surprisingly, and its durability to be immune to nuclear weapons. There was a saying that even if we were fighting against monsters, we were still happy as long as we didn't know Godzilla. Cell division, he has high regeneration capabilities. Charged particle breath, Godzilla has an ability to breathe radioactive beams. However, this beam is described to be highly accelerated particle changes to an electromagnetic origin. Again, he could level mountainscapes in a freaking instant. His size was also nothing to joke about. He was just physically powerful. He had electromagnetic pulse, red spiral particles breath, which basically used to destroy Mechagodzilla, and probably annihilate Gigan. Electromagnetic shield, which most weaponry couldn't get through. Electromagnetic underwater booster, which sped him up. Fall damage, doesn't take noticeable damage from falling from large heights. Lack of a skeletal frame. He's pretty much like a pure being of muscle, multiple layers of tissue, lacking thermal radiation, metallic tissue fibers. His muscle fibers are like metal. Molecular management is basically natural camouflage. What the hell is oscillatory ray? His roar can literally shake air, produce basically his roar alone produces shockwaves like the QB. Oh god, I'm just rambling on here at this point. Plasma cutter. Electromagnetic shockwave, radio absorption, and his tail, and terraforming. Yeah. Godzilla Earth is kind of freaking hacks. So if Kurama, let's just assume Godzilla shows up randomly during the Naruto world, and Kurama is still around, and he's there. Let's say this is long after like Naruto's past. Kurama's now just doing his thing alone. Godzilla emerges. So against each Godzilla, how does Kurama fare? Well, in a pure size fight, Kurama's outmatched in every form against every Godzilla in size. But if we're gonna start with probably the weakest one, Zilla's the one he probably has the best chance against. Clearly. He's also much smarter than probably all these Godzilla, forms of Godzilla. So, as he can actually talk and everything along those lines. So the fight would just start off and they would probably charge each other. Kurama has multiple turrets, so he's able to pin Zilla down. Zilla, has arms as well, though Kurama's are much more capable. And, he's able to kind of, he's able to, keep him at bay. Maybe he's capable of breathing fire. Breathes fire on him. Zilla does the same. They kind of back off. Kurama charges the tail beast ball and, shoots it right at him and takes out Zilla. Honestly, I don't think Zilla stands a very good shot against QB, against Kurama. So now we move into roughly the 80s, 90s Godzilla, which again, I can't remember which era Godzilla that actually was. This Godzilla is a lot more durable. It can take a lot more hits. Now, granted, a tail beast bomb hitting is like a giant bomb, is like a nuke going off. And it's not radiation. Oh, sorry, it's not radiation. So it should be able to it should have the force of a blast like that without the radiation that Godzilla could absorb, meaning that Godzilla should actually take damage from that. But this Godzilla comes with a lot more abilities than Zilla does. First off, he's Kurama, roughly speaking, from the way I can kind of picture it, is roughly around like a $150, 150 feet tall. Just the 80s, 90s Godzilla is twice that size. So right after that, Kurama's going to be, Kurama's going to be sticking to the long range because he knows he can't get into a close confrontation with this Godzilla. But this Godzilla can also, and this Godzilla we're translating into, it's been pretty much Final War, so we're combining all the Godzillas from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s into more or less one. And the Godzilla can take a meteorite shot without, anything. So he can definitely take the hits, at least for a while. Kurama can dish out enough that it probably would put him down, but Kurama still needs to charge that up. So Godzilla, and Godzilla is surprisingly speedy, especially in the 2000s. But Kurama's still the faster. Godzilla's firing the atomic breath right as he's firing off at the tail beast ball, so they'll collide, explode. Kurama is caught in the blast. Godzilla's there all of a sudden, starts to manhandle a little bit, maybe twice when his tail. Kurama gets hit. Now, Kurama does have high regeneration capability, so the question is, can Kurama outlast Godzilla, or does Godzilla outlast Kurama? In that era, Godzilla, now we're getting it, because basically the scale gets increased with every Godzilla. Oh, that's a tough one. I think Kurama has enough power to put that Godzilla down, but with a lot of effort. But he still can put him down. So I'm going to give that one also to Kurama. But it's going to take Kurama a lot. Then we get into probably the three most powerful versions of Godzilla we really have. And you might argue that with me, but I do think Legendary's Godzilla is actually pretty powerful. Compared to some of the older versions. So Legendary's Godzilla is, again, even bigger than that era's Godzilla. Not by much, but he is bigger. And he's much heftier than that Godzilla. Now, he's not very fast, but he's got a lot of power to him. So, again, he can certainly take a couple of Kurama's tail beast bombs. Kurama does not want to get involved in them, but unfortunately, Godzilla's atomic breath begs to differ. Kurama's got to avoid that. And then, if by some chance he went into burning mode, that's the point where even Kurama's kind of got a problem on his hands. Because we don't know how Kurama would handle, or any tail beast would actually handle radiation. Which is what Godzilla's just basically, what's the term? Exuding the whole time. And that's the energy. It's not chakra, it's radiation. So we don't know how that affects them. But if you get out of the burning, I think, again, though, Kurama could probably pull out a victory because Godzilla did have problems with the Mutos. Each one of them was smaller than he was. One-on-one, he could handle one without too much trouble. Together, they were a problem. Kurama's roughly speaking the same size. Well, maybe not the same size as the female Muto. I think the female Muto is even a little bigger than Kurama is. But it's better scaling to that. So I'd say Kurama might be able to be... See, now we're getting to, I think, the percentage of wins is decreasing, but I still think Kurama can pull the win on Legendary Godzilla. Shin Godzilla, and this is someone who's, from the little I saw, wasn't a big fan of Shin Godzilla. I'm sorry, this is where I think Kurama gets screwed, because Shin Godzilla can, like I said, wipe out an entire city, entire skyscraper line in seconds. With a concentrated radioactive laser. Not to mention from his tail. Not to mention he can just recharge it and do it again. He has a little bit of recharge time. He can still do it. I don't think Kurama can... Now, physically speaking, he's also much bigger than Kurama. I actually think Kurama could take him physically. But it's not the point. If he can't get to him, it doesn't matter. And I don't think Shin Godzilla is going to let him get to him. So I fully believe that Shin Godzilla, frankly, could just start cutting off his tails. Kurama's like, ah! And then basically Shin just completely just starts slicing him down. Kurama would put up a great fight, but I think that this is the first Godzilla that actually legitimately beats him. And last but not least, let's talk about Godzilla Earth. The one that's, okay, again, 150 feet tall, roughly speaking, is what Kurama is. Maybe like 165. So let's say these two fingers are Kurama, roughly speaking. So, boom. Wait a minute, let me get that. There we go. There's Godzilla Earth comparatively. Yeah. I'm sorry. Kurama don't stand a lick. Kurama don't have a chance here. Okay, let me rephrase that. I think I got the scaling a little lot there because I was doing it about 10 times. Godzilla Earth's over 1,000 feet tall, but roughly speaking, 160. Let's do that math real quick. That means about let's say he's about 7 times larger than Kurama. So if I were to do this real quick, let's say my palm is this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, we got to go a little bigger on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, right about there. Still, sorry, Godzilla Earth, Kurama doesn't stand a freaking chance against Godzilla Earth. Not only is he shielded, which means none of Kurama's attacks could probably get through anyway, but he's got more than enough power to not just match, but terraform the entire Earth. Kurama can't terraform a planet. So, Kurama would do his best. He would just keep it long range, but then Godzilla would just boom and just wipe him out. Kurama would be a pretty good kaiju in the early years of Godzilla. Unfortunately, he would fail against Godzilla Earth. And I didn't watch it. I do like the whole idea of Godzilla is pretty much at this point God. But still, it's just I know I'm gonna get people complaining at me. It's like Kurama can do this, Kurama can do that. I get it, and I went on way too long for this video. I apologize for that. And I know I'm also gonna get people saying, I just want to see the fight. You suck. I got people saying that for the John Wick one. Sorry, this is more of a discussion type of video style of videos than anything else. I digress. So ultimately, though, Kurama actually did win the majority of the fights. So I actually have to go with Kurama on the majority side of things. But there are versions of Godzilla that Kurama cannot match up to. And quite frankly, I think he barely scoots out a win against Legendary Godzilla. I do believe Legendary Godzilla could beat him on the right day. So really, it's a 50-50. I'm going to lean just barely, in that case, with Kurama, because I think he takes the majority of the fights barely against Legendary's Godzilla. But yeah, it's pretty much neck and neck. And I know I'm going to get a lot of Godzilla fans upset at me, and I'm going to get Naruto fans upset at me. That's just the way that YouTube works. I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. I got a what if to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's the week of what ifs, so keep your eyes out for those. Later, folks.